or run it on a schedule. Anyway, let's check out yours. I want to make sure yours is the same thing I'm seeing. So it's the fault one. Wait, both the tests are. Test models is in now. That was a good one. I
Yeah.
looked at it a couple times. That was like it took 20 minutes too. We should have just done that way sooner.
Yeah. For a long time, just running the level open pilot.
You're talking about this mutation test. That one should not be flaky. Okay. Let's. Okay. Yeah, we gotta fix that. Let's make an issue. Yeah, that definitely has to be fixed. Flaky. I think the problem with this test is it like writes out a whole bunch of state, and then you want to isolate it, and we want multi-process, which is annoying. Okay. Bug. Yeah, we gotta fix that soon. That's a lame failure. Did the other one do the same thing? SH utility mutation root. Oh. Oh. Oh, I see. Oh, easy fix. Kind of. We really only want to copy the Git files. That's the real thing to do here. How can we do that? What's the easy way? Just like Git ls tree. N? Cursive. Yeah, something like that. But that should actually. Okay. That should fix this. Yeah, it's always hypothesis. Yeah, hypothesis is basically writing out temp files, and we don't want that. Fix flaky and certain devices. All right, cool. We fixed the bug.
Cool.
Bug fixed. We can close issue. But yeah, I want to invest more in this loop. Such that like you can imagine. Okay, so what I was talking about, like the thing we're going to use to validate the excessive actuation check, we basically just want to know, will the user notice anything, right? Will they see an alert? And this is very similar to like you're changing like the gear parsing for the Hondas, right? You can imagine this tool is even used for that, right? You give it like you can even just like tell it to whitelist these signals that I care about, right? Or I just want to know what alerts the user sees. Like, does this change engagement behavior? Does this change the alerts shown? So I'd really like this to be a nice tool in OpenPilot that people can also run on our data sets. We should be able to like very confidently make all sorts of changes like this. Like Wei-Cheng can use this when he's like tuning the DM policy. But yeah, those are kind of the two big things.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I wanna overinvest in those. Like these things, like we already fixed the always on DM, and I think Shane's already basically done with the validating the stuff, but it's all one-off stuff. I want to just take the time, like before we ship it, to redo the validation and productionize it, such that next time we do a project like this, there is no one-off validation code. It's just running some really nice tool in OpenPilot.
Speaking of DM, I had a bug open, which I closed. There's another user that had a bug open, and I think part of his report is still legitimate. So the always on lockout, I think the always on lockout, if you pissed off DM at any point, even a little bit, it would just lock you out.
I hit that too, like 3 times in a row. It was the worst.
What the other user was, it's confounded by the always on that is now fixed, but what he's talking about driving into like is certain sunlight conditions there is a legitimate issue there. Okay, so it can't see your face, but there's issues where like the alert flickers in and out, and you keep going to like an inattentive. If it can't see you, it should just not see you and fall back to driver steering torque. It shouldn't be like flickering in and out multiple times a second.
Yeah, so basically, DM team has been on hiatus working on driving models for this year. Basically, we plan to get back to DM like within a month or so. Wishing's been working on this cool test called like Analyze Cones. And
You a cone guy?
Yeah, Wishing's the cone guy right now. So instead of DM, we've been doing cones. Oh, that's a good tweet for today. All right, I'll save that for later. Harold's in here. I don't know if he wants to talk about it a little bit. If not, I can talk about it. I can pull some pictures from Slack. He posted some good stuff. Oh, the control stuff is cool too. Let me. I can share my screen with the control stuff. Yeah, cluster plan models.
Hey, can you hear me? Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could just talk about Cone Guy situation a bit. And we were just kind of in a state where it felt like the models were not as smart. Like a lot of the issues we have are about like controls and like recentering in lane, but some issues are also just that the models are stupid and they don't understand not to drive into walls, cones, that sort of stuff. And it wasn't really obvious how to fix that and how we can kind of iterate on that. Problem is that in the overall metrics, a lot of these things kind of drown out. So we developed some tests. You've seen, was working on this for a while with some other people with Wishing and trying to get a test suite that can kind of show, these are cases where clearly the model's just stupid and is predicting things that don't make sense. And that has helped us iterate on making the model smarter, much better. And so we've been training models now recently that kind of pass all these test cases where we think, there's no excuse for predicting a path like that other than being stupid. And you can see kind of the results in the screen that Deeb is sharing. The left is basically what we shipped, and you can see they predict paths. They're just complete nonsense, directly into cones, stuff like that. And then these kind of models that we developed by iterating over these tests, you can see they don't do this. And we have a similar test for traffic lights. That's kind of the same thing. Like sometimes green lights are kind of nuanced, like you're in a turn lane and there's just one green light for you and there's other red lights in the scene. And those used to confuse the models a lot. But now we have models that Wishing and you see made a good test for this, and then we were able to iterate, and now we have models that pass all these test cases. So at least we have a good grasp on, at least in terms of off-policy predictions, what's necessary to make the models much smarter. Yeah, we're gonna try to condense that into something we can ship, and hopefully the shipping models will be smarter.
This is first model that takes advantage of 2 million segments. We've got like 9 million in the office now. We're gonna infrastructure team should hopefully grow a little bit in the next couple weeks. Some old faces, and we'll be able to have more data. Process stuff
Segment's
faster.
such a confusing word. We should start using hours. 30,000 hours. How much is a life? How many hours in a life?
Oh, life.
Okay. That's not a life quite yet.
But yeah, getting up there. And then the exciting thing about DM is we had this like old shitty stack that we kind of squeezed every last drop we could out of. That also ran on SNPE and was like, the whole stack was just kind of meh across the board. It was very, 2017, 2018. So Wishing's very excited to go back and use some like nice modern foundation models, modern ML techniques, and the GPU to ship much better DM. Hopefully we can ship like some good temporal DM or something. So Wishing's really excited to go revisit that whole stack with some fresh eyes from all the cone progress. maybe like towards the end of the year or early next year, Harold, you'd say we have like some cool new DM stuff to ship, some like substantially different stuff.
Yeah, I think so. That's kind of the plan. I mean, we've collected a lot more data since, we can train on new data.
Yeah, we have a lot more diversity now too due to Firehose Mode.
I mean, also just the DM problem is much more generic, I guess. Like we could consider using open source, VLM models to make some statements about eyes and all that sort of stuff. There's just so much available now that I think we can do much better by just using the state of the art. And
yeah, like there is a good DM policy even in like GPT 4.0.
Yeah. Will Spacelab V2 be in release staging? Yes, that is the plan. The plan is to release that model right now.
Yeah, we'll update release staging. I mean, you can just use master for now or nightly. We'll update staging once we finish up all the milestones. We'll probably redo staging next week. Hopefully, we finish all the testing stuff we want to do, our infrastructure investments. Yeah, I think those are the big updates. It seems like people like Spacelab. It's not like shitty TR, it's Spacelab. It's a whole new generation of models. Nothing like TR, don't worry. Yeah, is that it on the autonomy update? Oh, can we show the control stuff?
Yeah. Do you want to show that? You're already
Yeah,
screen sharing.
um,
The control stuff is really cool. I really think we can. This is by far the best we've been doing at controls ever. So I think we can really ship some improvements.
All right. I gave David some good feedback. Let's read the legend at the bottom first. So OS is overshoot, and he had arrows too, or the arrows point the same way. Anyway, OS is overshoot and US is undershoot. So you can see like in both turn directions, they're like consistent. So Jason, you may be interested in some Volkswagens. I don't know if you have an Atlas, but apparently this undershoots a whole lot.
Nice.
Toyota Sienna, that looks just sloppy.
Yeah, I think we should. We'll probably just open source these reports too. There's no reason that they're private. We can just post them on the other report website.
Should we just make
Yeah, it makes some issues very obvious. David, one of our new people who's been working exclusively on this control stuff. I think we can really get some good stuff out of it.
That you guys see in the other reports. That was his kind of first project.
Yeah. So David's working on all public stuff. Yeah, we gotta surface that better. I think it'd be cool that people can watch this if they want. I mean, these reports are very intuitive. If people are cartooning, this might be very helpful for them.
I feel like junk should just be public. You'll have to like really scrutinize if somebody's gonna look at it and ping you on Discord if you make a mistake. You might think about it a little more.
Yeah.
Probably don't want to do that, but
I mean, there's a lot of junk. Yeah, but I guess it's for those who are trying to figure out what's going on. Yeah, I don't know. I'll just I'll post it and we can tweet about it because then people can look at it in their own. I don't know. Is there anyone that wants to see a particular car? Curious about what your car response looks like.
well, we can see some angle versus PID stuff too. So why is there two E6s? I don't understand. That.
Because it's 2-speed buckets.
Oh, okay. So the EV6 should actually be a lot better now, I hope. Well,
I'm not sure if it will show in this report, but
What do Hondas look like generally?
Oh, they look so good. And their little band. Look at that. Look at that Accord. Oof. Look at the Civic.
yeah, so basically a very narrow, flat band is what you want. You can see in the Hondas they're actually very accurate, but they just don't have much torque. So towards the ends, like nothing kind of happens.
Look at that. And then there's like I think the RAV4 we've shipped a whole bunch of different stuff, so you can see like the control techniques. Yeah, here's like PID. Wait, when did we ship? That must have been like really old. PID and then angle. Yeah, there's a different EPS. Yeah, it was 2023.
Oh yeah, I guess you can show the Tesla. That's also interesting.
So,
Yeah, so you can see the Tesla is like basically completely flat, right? Which means it's got very accurate controls. And I guess you can compare it directly to the Corolla TSS2 right down below it diagonally. That's like an example of something that has quite a bit of torque, but overshoots like crazy all the time. That kind of gives you some indication of what we'll look into trying to fix. Those plots should all look flat.
Rivian is pretty good too. Check out Rivian.
But Rivian is a torque interface?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Rivian, I guess, is our only like torque interface car that has a lot of torque and seems to be very accurate. Then I guess
It doesn't feel the best though. That's interesting.
yeah.
Anecdotally, it doesn't feel that great. What's test? Oh, have you observed lane hugging on Tesla on latest models? No.
I mean, lane hugging. I don't know. I feel it always gets talked about as if it's like this one issue, but I mean, so many different problems can manifest in lane hugging. Yeah. So as long as the models make mistakes, some mistakes will look like hugging in some cases. Lag would probably not manifest in lane hugging. Most of the hugging, if your controls is decent, probably looks like the model just kind of misunderstanding the nuance of the scene. I mean, a lot of times lane hugging is obviously desirable, right? It's not like being in the center of the lane is always good. It's just that the model doesn't always understand when should it be in the center of the lane and when shouldn't it.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot of the things that you guys tend to complain about are like maybe these are like very specific features on your commute or something that matter a lot to you, but there's something the models have never done very reliably, and there's some things we can't guarantee at this point. Like that these behaviors won't change. Like some models may be like way better at these by chance.
Yeah.
Like 90-degree turns, even internally, Shane and Jimmy love complaining about these. But like, trust me, you guys are well represented internally. Even Jimmy's shilling for Study Pilot these days.
But yeah, I mean, my large scale answer is that while some hugging is caused by controls, especially if you have good controls, there's just a lot of hugging that's caused by the model misunderstanding the nuance of the scene and thinking it's a good idea to hug, even though in reality it's not. These models are still very stupid, and we still bottleneck them a lot to make them work in simulation.
Oh, Hey Comma be available. Still working on Hey Comma, but Jimmy says he has a good one for me to drive on today, so I'm gonna check it out. Maybe we'll see. It depends if Autonomy can give up 3% of the GPU for Hey Comma.
And again, it's really hard to give a direct answer to the hugging stuff. Sometimes it's controlled, sometimes it's not. But I know there are for sure cases where the model is just wants to be there for some reason. It misunderstands the scene and doesn't understand the context properly. I mean, an example that we were talking about internally is there are a lot of bike lanes in the US, and sometimes you have to drive on the bike lane, sometimes you don't, and the model gets super confused by this. It will drive on the bike lane when it shouldn't, and vice versa.
Hello, testing. You hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. So the reason I'm asking this is because recently, I've been working on the angle steering, and on Sunny Pilot, I have something which is for the safety is using like a baseline model for safety, and I realized that we were hugging more when I changed the baseline model safety to the characteristics of Santa Fe. So I don't know if it was just luck or a coincidence, or maybe I don't really know what did that change. The only difference that I did is basically lower the maximum lateral acceleration that it can basically pull on my car.
Well, you're also like reversing a new API. So I mean, and it's like a very strange API too. So this is like, we really can't answer questions with regards to how it interacts with the model and stuff, especially in this case. I don't know if Harold, you remember from the hackathon that I don't know if you knew about this car. I think the EV9 and the Telluride we rented had this like weird new angle interface, and we kind of like got it working okay on one of those cars, but it's like different even across the same models, even like across individual like cars of the same model and within the platform.
Well, the thing that is changing there is the torque reduction gain. But if we equalize that to always 100, basically every car behaves the same way. I'm using the vehicle model for the safety in these instances. But again, what I wanted to highlight is I only changed the limits, and I felt more hugging. But it could be just placebo. Like it could be just I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
this is
just
like
doing
totally
it.
pointless. We can't segue every discussion into this torque reduction gain thing. Like this is let's stay on topic here.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna make any comments on this, like new APIs. I have no idea how they work. So
Yeah, we support. We're very careful about which cars we let in, and we're happy to investigate those cars. And over time, we will increase that list. But if it's really outside of those, like the more time we spend talking about this, the less time we're spending improving the models and improving OpenPilot for you guys. So GitHub is like kind of our interface to talk about this, and then the Discord. Also happy to talk about this like later in the call, but when we're just talking about the models like in general, it's really not helpful to ask some question with the hidden context of I'm working on this weird carport and all this weird code, and do you also see these issues? Like we can't have a productive discussion about that. Like I know the community for some reason does not believe that Sunny Pilot and weird carports and all this stuff does not have like some massive effect here, but trust us, it does. And even if you don't believe it does, believe that we believe it does, and we're the ones working on the models. So this is like somewhat irrelevant. But yeah, as far as we know, the models in master are essentially release ready. So if there were any like known issues, we would let you guys know. But as far as we know, there are no issues preventing them from shipping to release. Yeah, this is our control stuff. I don't know. I hope you guys are feeling the progress on like many of these axes. Like the models are getting smarter, the controls characterization is getting better. DM will hopefully get better soon. OpenPilot will be getting better for you. 010 should be like a pretty like noticeable upgrade, I think, for a lot of people who are just on release or something and haven't been following along with all the weird models.
yeah, the biggest upgrade that I'm excited about is that we longitudinal control end to end in experimental mode. I think starts to feel usable. I know a lot of people have been using it before, but I never did. I thought it was kind of unusable. I think this is the first release where it doesn't look like super jerky all the time. Obviously there's still tons and tons of issues that need to be worked on, but I think this is a really good starting point where I think a new group of people will think it's usable when it wasn't before. I think that's the biggest upgrade in the driving that I'm excited about.
Yeah, I think it may be better than chill mode for my commute now. I don't have like long highway stretches on my commute, and the EV6 was very comfortable yesterday. Exciting stuff. Cool. Exciting stuff. I think that's what we got for updates. We can go into some PR review. There were some complaints, but it's probably not a controls problem. Yeah, I mean, again, these vibe posts are like, here's another way to think about this, right? Like, as soon as a new model drops, like, essentially reset the state, just assume it's a good model. As far as we're concerned, our tests show that we either wrote a specific test for old issues, or the things that people are complaining about are generally, they just kind of change a bit between models. So you have to kind of like come into it with a fresh perspective and be like, all right, here is new model. The test states it performs at some level. As far as we're concerned, it's release ready. And then if we are given some very specific feedback, we can make statements about it. But we can't just take like general vibes about models at some point on maybe some forks.
Well, I just want to add to that. I'll give you some context of my experience looking into these complaints. So I merge new models. I'm super worried about regressing things, and every complaint I really care about. I'll give you a few examples of complaints I get that are super misleading. And this isn't like to bash on the users. Even people in my own team that are working on the driving models do this. It'll be something like, hey, turns don't, it did a terrible job at this turn. It just kept turning. Now, turn means like a million things, and I'm worried about a highway turn that's supposed to be super reliable, and then I look into this data, and it's like a 90-degree turn at an intersection, which like has never been reliable. But from the report, I'm worried that the highway turns is departing the lane, which is something completely different. so that's one example. Another example is, people were complaining about this bike lane situation that I alluded to before, and people say like, oh, I'm driving on a straight road and it departs the lane clearly. Now, I guess it's technically correct, but when I look at the image and I see there's a bike lane, I immediately see that this is to some extent a nuanced situation that the model often struggles with. Sometimes you do have to drive on bike lanes, and it's not at all the same thing as being on a straight highway where there's normal indicated lanes and it departs the lane there. And that's just not at all clear from the complaint without like a picture attached or a very clear description. So I think it's not easy to. It is not always obvious to you guys when you describe these complaints how much information is lacking that I think is really important to me. And then so many times I look into these complaints and realize that I found the original complaint super misleading. So, I mean, a picture is by far the best, pictures and logs and clear descriptions. Otherwise, like so often, I just go down these rabbit holes only to find out it was a new control method or it was just a completely different thing than I expected.
I only changed this one thing that actually improves the driving. I was using my Lego mount. Yeah, we're gonna have the automatic feedback channel. I'm really excited for that. Cool. But yeah, I think we do need to put some effort into. We can't victim blame the users here. The system is
not
working optimally for either party here. So.
I'm just trying to highlight my experience, and that sometimes there's context missing that seems like not relevant to the people complaining, that ends up being very relevant.
Yes. Yeah, there's like certainly classes of issues, right? Like if you're just driving on a straight highway and OpenPilot does something that's like totally out of distribution, that's like the first thing that we're like, all right, this model is just straight up broken. We can't ship this. And then as soon as you start getting to like 90 turns, we're never, we're not really there yet to say anything about. As long as it doesn't do something like totally adversarial, then yeah. And then there's some kind of spectrum between those. Why behavior the same model can be changing on the same route? What would they be? Oh, you're saying like you're tuning, like you're working on tuning your car, and there's a fixed model, and you're just everything is fixed, and you're saying you're seeing different behavior every time.
I would just say that first of all, same route is never the same route. I think the lighting is always different, and these are visual models. They are very affected by lighting conditions. And secondly, the speed you drive is also extremely important for how the model behaves. People will often complain like, oh, it did this turn great last week and now it's doing terrible. But if you're driving 5 miles an hour faster, it's a very different problem for the model. I would say same route can be very different lighting and very different speed, and then different behavior is expected, even if everything else is the same.
Yeah, I mean, you usually don't notice the speed either. I complain about a lot of things, and then I'm like, wait a minute, this was like 15 miles an hour different. Especially with the way we do some of the limits on some cars. Or if there's a lead car, yeah, that's a big one.
I mean, yes, obviously that's a really big effect too.
Yeah, I mean, this is why it also doesn't make sense to like. I mean, it is like there is some signal in it, but there's not like a whole lot. Where some people like to try the same models on the same routes and stuff. And if you keep driving the same ones, you can get like a good feel for it. But just like driving it once and then be like, holy shit, this model sucks, or this model's the best thing ever. It doesn't like. There's not a whole lot of signal in that. Yeah, very exciting stuff on the horizon. 010 should be like a. It's not as big as like other point releases. Usually we like kind of wait until there's like a whole bunch of other things, but it's got like in the behind the scenes, it's a massive update. And then yeah, it should be a really great series 010, and hopefully 011 soonish after. Definitely not 2.5 years for MLSim. I would be very comfortable betting less than 2.5 years from 010 to 011.
Well, if we've shipped this, we've made a very important step. Next step is the DTR models, which I mean a lot of people already like. I don't think those will be too hard to ship, and then MLSim.
0, 10, 1, then 0, 11. That'd be great. The important thing is we avoided 0, 9, 11. That's what's important here. Just in the nick of time. Is there an easy way to see how much percent of my driving is done by OP? New Connect has this. If you want to poke around in New Connect, it will like it's like 80% of existing Connect. It works, and it has the percent, I think. All right, cool. I think it's PR review time. Unless Harold, do you have any closing thoughts?
No.
All right, cool. Cool. Yeah. We already went over half an hour, so I'll do some quick reviews, and then I think we'll get out of here. Hopefully next week we're talking about 0, 10, being in staging. And we have all this cool new infrastructure. Maybe I'll talk to Jimmy about setting up the channel and like refactoring the feedback stuff because there's definitely something getting lost on both sides here. Like we can't always trust the stuff in Open Cloud Experience, and then you guys feel frustrated that you're putting effort into the feedback and it's not getting heard. It's similar to we went through this stuff on GitHub a bit, I think, where we're maybe didn't give enough feedback on people put effort and stuff. We didn't always get feedback. 0, 10 was in staging, and we added some stuff to it. Also, the models weren't ready. But models ready now, and then we add stuff, and we got to finish that stuff. All right, let's see what PRs we got. I opened my very first PRs. Let's check them out. Add link to commit view. Does this... Why isn't there a preview? I thought there was like a preview when you do a PR. And website. Let's check out the website one. Fix handle missing product route. How does that work? Response. Oh. How does this work? What URL can I go to? So some good feedback here is, so for this PR, what I would do is basically take this like preview URL and then give me like a one I can click on to test this out. So this is like a pretty good description already. The cause response be undefined. No, yeah. Product non-existent, not found. Wait, that's a bad error. What is it? Oh, wait, that would. Does it already say non-existent? Let's see what it says. So if I go mount. Wait. Oh, you put non-existent. I see. Yeah. Okay. So what I would do. So this is already pretty good. What I would do is no. He put non-existent as a product name. That's why I thought that was. So yeah, just take this preview URL and then like include it in your description. It's like just click here to see what it looks like, and then this would be like a real perfect PR. That makes it so much nicer to review. Let's add some quotes. So it's more clear. Yeah, I know. I was confused too. Okay. Let's. I want to make sure my changes work now. Okay, we got to come back to this once it deploys. First PRs. But yeah, it's pretty good first PR. But yeah, if you just include that in the description, it'd be so much better. It really does make a big difference. Deploy. All right, deployed. Let's try it out. All my quotes. I'll give it a little more time. Okay, so the Flash one, I guess, doesn't have a preview. So we'll just have to... Okay, I'll do that later. Let's just Do the patch. Why is the patch empty? Oh, I don't have bun. One sec. Get bun. Sorry, it's a new computer. Let's see if those are ready now. All right, cool. This is ready. All right, cool. Good PR. We merge one. Let's check out this one. Bun install. What is it? Bun dev. Let's try that. Okay. Now I go to. Oh. Well, that's broken. Okay, so this is broken. I guess that's okay though. Well, target blank tree. Yeah. How do I do a production build? Bun build? How can I do not production? Bun start. Why does it just show the commit? What am I doing wrong? Hmm. What does it show now? Okay, if I do that. Copy. Paste that. Okay. I don't really know how this works. I'll take your word for it. But I thought we had a preview thing on here. Didn't we? Maybe not. Oh. No, I don't think we did actually. All right, cool. We got two merged. Let's see what else we got. This sort of thing gets much easier. Yeah, the safety tests need a little bit of work. There is like a lot of, they're a bit verbose. The thing with this is it helps a bit, but not a ton. Yeah, there's still quite a bit of repeated stuff in the car code, but we did like a good like 1,000 lines from OpenDBC last week with the my CAN parser refactors. Did some safety modernization. A lot of the safety stuff was still some of the stuff was done because it was like still very STM specific and stuff. And really it shouldn't be. I think the safety code is like pretty beautiful. It's very much like our best code, and it should be. Oh, sorry, I'm on my other monitor. Let me I mean, okay, yeah. So regarding this comment of like, can we wait to do this until later? Like, what I'll say about these contributions is like we have a certain workflow and there's a reason we like doing things this way. And it's not like we're imposing different standards for external contributors. Whenever we do stuff like this, like when I did my refactors, I did like you'll generally see if I'm doing something like this, I'll like make 3 or 4 prereq PRs, and it's really worth doing, especially with something as complicated as you're trying to add. Like the real thing that you're trying to add is this complicated steering API with both torque and angle. And it's really necessary to go back and really evaluate what is the simplest way to add this thing.
If I may, it's just angle. It's just moving the Tesla code that you guys already have on the Tesla car controller and moving it back.
No, I understand what this PR does, but like in the overall goal is to support for this new Hyundai API, right?
Yeah. No, but I'm agree. Like what I wanted to say, like for example, Shane proposed to split car controller params, and I'm doing that on another PR. This one, the splitting of lateral and long, I think it kind of requires a bit more. So I wanted to at least first get this into this place, like out of Tesla into this file, and then from this file we can move it to the proper split like he did on the safety on the Panda code.
Yeah, my point is basically like if you want to like keep asking for these exceptions on how we do things, that's fine, and you don't even have to do them. Like we will do them, but then your trade-off is basically then it kind of has to just fall within our priority list. Like you can always bump things up. I had this good tweet a couple weeks ago about like the beautiful thing about open source is when your personal expected value is higher than the company's, right? Like the company has to kind of maximize their expected value, right? Like when I come into work today, I don't really get to, like there was a production issue today. And after this call I have to go deal with that. I don't really get to choose what I work on for the most part. On the weekends you see me like refactoring, deleting stuff, and that's what I like to do. So that's what I do on the weekends. I have to like do things that are in the interest of like maximizing the company's EV, right? But the beautiful thing about open source is you can implement things that like totally do not overlap at all. And as long as you put up like a real beautiful thing, like it is like you can essentially push it up. Like you can push up the expected value, right? If you just put up Jason is really, really good at doing this. And this is why he has write access to OpenDBC. Like whenever Jason puts up a PR, I know he's thinking about the same things that I'm thinking about when I do things. If he adds something that's like not super nice, he'll groan about it, be like, yeah, I looked into this, I validated over this, we really have to do it, and this is why. And he'll like really anticipate all the things that I'm going to ask about. So basically, what I'm saying is, if you expect things out of these projects that aren't the main thing that we're focusing on, and the main thing we're focusing on is improving the driver, right? We don't really need new cars. We don't need really any of this stuff. Then the way to do it is make it such that our expected value for merging a thing is positive rather than negative, right? If we spent all this time on, like the reason this OpenDBC backlog exists is because if we had, let's say, some fixed resources, if we spent our resources on getting this backlog down, your driving would not be any better, and this company would be much less successful and solving self-driving cars. Whereas, like, let's say all the contributors who made these PRs, if they did them to the same standard that we would do them, which we're not asking, we're just saying if you do that, this makes it much easier for us to merge. That this is what I'm saying. I'm not expecting this. It's a really kind of like high bar to set. Like the Tesla, for example, that was a pretty high quality port, but Shane still spent like a good 6 weeks like doing the safety for that port, and it was like we cannot ship it without that. And there was already hundreds of people driving on that thing. And it was like it like worked, but it wasn't like it didn't meet the bar for release. And we're not asking people to do that. We're just saying if you want to keep asking for reviews and you want like it's got to be like a trade-off, right? You can't ask for urgency and not kind of make it such that you got to trust the process, right? This is what I'm getting at. These new Hyundais in particular are a real adding support for any one of the new individual Hyundais is really both. It is some risk in that these new Hyundais, like they can put more torque on the wheel than the ISO limits allow. So there's risk in that. Generally, this hasn't been true. They're all so different that just supporting one doesn't like get us that many cars, unfortunately. So you have to really flip that expected value for us, right? Such that
If
you
if
just
you
bring
want
such
that,
a high quality thing that it's like it's better for us to merge it than to not merge it, basically.
For,
You
for
see
us in Sunny Pilot, we are actually currently supporting on my branch more than my Ionic 5. And like I said, we are using a baseline safety for that. But we're talking about the angle steering for Hyundai, and that's not the PR that I wanted to focus on because I know that one has a lot more work. And the reason I'm happy when you guys look at it is because you validate or not whether the safety path that I'm following is making sense. That's the main reason. Like I don't expect it to be merged very quickly, but I'm happy when I get the feedback because I know at least I'm not gonna be killed by it. I'm doing the best I can with the safety there. But on this other one, the PR that I sent you, it's basically the request that you did. It's like, hey, let's try to split these things up because I see a lot of repeated code between a Hyundai and the Tesla, and that's pretty much what this is. The question was, do we want to really split right now the lateral and longitudinal? I can do that, and I can do that in another PR, but it's gonna look a lot of changes basically because all of the cars are now pointing to the init pi, and yeah, it's gonna be just a lot of file changes. Like I said, I can do it apart. Happy to do it, but I wanted to just like maybe first finish up something. So that's why not looking to merge angle steering that quickly. I know that's gonna take some time, so no worries there.
Yeah. Let's try to review this now and see if we can. Like, is it ready to review again? Is it ready to review again?
No, don't fully review. I was just really asking for the like, do we really want to split lateral and long right now, or can we just like wait a little bit on that? I can promise you I'll do it, but I just want to at least know whether I focus on this or not. I know I also have to do the base for the car controller params. I'm gonna do that before that Shane asked. I think it makes sense. There's still some work to do, but that one I wanted to close that thread basically. You know.
Yeah, I mean, the way we would prefer it be done is you basically just make a new PR that does the splitting and doesn't add anything, just like literally move stuff, and then rebase this one on that. That's how we'd prefer it's done, but it's also fine if you just like finish this up and then we do it the other way. The splitting is how I would do it. There's so many PRs that I do that look like I'll write something like you did here. Then I'll be like, oh, I want to split it. And then I'll do the split, then I'll close this and I'll make a new one.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I also do that, so I stand by that. So that makes sense. Basically, it's not extremely urgent, but you would appreciate if it's done. So I'll keep that in mind, and
Cool.
maybe while this is being reviewed, whenever it's ready, I can start that other PR and just revise afterwards. You know, because at the end of the day, it's gonna be the same code, just different location.
Yeah. And I know you guys over at Sunny Pilot appreciate maintainability with your new rewrite. I hear the rebase is like pretty successful. You guys rebase like every 2 weeks pretty successfully, right?
Yeah, and it's not even every 2 weeks. Like if there's anything from value from OP, we can do it sooner. But otherwise, we just spend time on other features. But yeah, it's actually way easier now. So yeah.
Cool. We love getting all that Firehose data in. Great. Let's see if there's any more PRs then. Oh, that was it. Cool. I think that's it for this week. Has anybody's got any last minute questions? Any last minute comments? Very excited for the 010 series. Very excited for 010.
When are you trying to go to release? Or I guess when are you trying to cut for staging final?
Probably a week from now.
Now, let's do it now.
Wait, no. I really want to. So you know the thing I'm asking for with the validating the excessive actuation thing? Oh, I'm asking you, Harold. You get what I'm asking?
Oh, sorry, everything's crashing. Say that again.
So you get what I'm asking for with Shane's like excessive actuation validation. Basically, I want to know. So he wrote all this like one-off stuff, right, to flag segments where it wouldn't trip.
Oh, you're talking about the testing.
Yeah.
Testing the alert
Yeah.
or testing the trigger.
I mean, it's the same thing, right?
Sure, but that's what you want before a release.
I want that, and then I want tests for the thing that broke always on DM.
Okay.
So I'm working on the second thing, and then basically the stuff is done. I just, we won't. This is just a good forcing function to do it. But in the meantime, I mean, do you want me to push the staging to get people to run it? In the meantime, they can run nightly right now.
I mean, if you think all that's left to do is verification on your end, then yeah, I think we should go to staging. But if you still want to make changes to OpenPilot,
let's see. Maxime is also getting some Agno stuff in. I noticed we were killing some cars with. Actually, this one was inspired by a very scary experience I had. I saw another OpenPilot car in the wild that had the system reset screen. It was either Phantom Touch or they touched it on boot, and it was actually my uncle's car while I was home. I put OpenPilot on his car, and I was like, this may have been here for a week for all I know. He drives enough where like it's not going to kill the battery, but like what a terrible experience. So like this stuff just has to time out. So I really want to get this fixed. And then there's a couple more little Agno stuff we have to get in, but we can cut it later this week.
The reason I asked is for the Honda refactors, I'm almost done with the stuff that I can do at zero risk, and there's things that still need to be done that are a tiny bit of risk that I want to do in master after release. There's stuff that just needs to be screen tested a little.
Oh, like what?
I don't think we understand the Honda EPA. Like, there's a state variable that comes back, and there's a bunch of different states, and I don't think we have a good understanding of what they really mean. And there is zero actual handling of like low speed and driving for cars with low limits. Like, we just keep going. And we have, if I have to set conditions in the port to just handle low speeds for the new cars, I will, but I'd rather do it right.
So the staging doesn't even really. Okay. I'll try to. Yeah, I don't like being blocked on this. If we don't go to staging this week, then I would maybe just do the add your if.
This is purely for me planning. Don't think this is going to block merging new cars.
Okay.
Harnesses are, you guys send me a package with harnesses that's showing up on Friday. I should be able to get a car on Saturday and start tinkering with some set of them, but whatever set of Hondas we end up merging, even if they go to release and the next release, we're going to have several weeks to get all the bugs figured out.
Cool. Was DM broken? Always on DM was broken. Basically, it was in some state where if you ever saw a DM alert, it would just lock you out for the rest of the drive. So it wasn't. I mean, it broke in like the quote unquote good way. It didn't break such that you don't have DM, but you had too much DM. What's the schedule for Agnos releases? It's just whenever there's stuff to ship. I don't know. I don't know. A lot of your questions, Spectre, I don't really understand the intent. Like, there's no good way to answer that question. I highly recommend you read the question. So I'm not really sure what a good answer to that is. I'm not sure what the question is. From the time comes for angle steering, do you see more value if I had support for multiple models at once, or do you prefer to have one model at a time to make sure it's really good and go from there? One model. Let's start with one model. It is helpful to have the context, though. If you want to give me, like, here's some Sunny Pilot branch that has all of them or something, this is helpful context, though. And it's like, here are some routes from a couple different cars. Cool. Yeah, I think it was a good call. Oh, we went over. Yeah, okay, it's lunchtime. All right, guys. Thanks for coming. If you want to come to lunch, consider working here. That's the only way to come to lunch. and you can talk about fun lunch things, and you can work on things and work on OpenPile full time. So if anybody's out there who wants to work on OpenPile full time and come to lunch, we're hiring. Love to hire some people for the OpenPile team. Even interns. I love having a rotating cast of interns to work on fun projects like HateComma. All right. Until next Wednesday.